take a timeout.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Kenny, and welcome to ESPN Classic's Top 5 Reasons You Can't Blame, a series that takes a fresh look at sports figures remembered largely for their mistakes, controversial moments, or questionable decisions. When Michael Jordan first retired from the Chicago Bulls in October of 1993, following his father's murder, the sports world was shocked. 4 months later, Jordan dropped another bombshell. He decided to pursue a career in baseball. Over the next half hour, we'll take a look at why you can't blame MJ for taking a swing at America's pastime. But first, we'll take a look back at how the decision threatened to change his moniker from Air Jordan to Error Jordan.
And a shot on Elo. Good! Oh! There's Jordan for 3! The ball to the wall, tapped again!
Michael Jordan was at the pinnacle of his success in 1993.
Michael had it all. He had the looks, he had the personality.
You better eat your Wheaties.
Everything he touched became cool and became a trend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jordan!
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
While maintaining his cool image on Madison Avenue, Jordan stayed hot on the basketball court in 1993, winning his 7th straight scoring title and leading the Bulls to a 3rd consecutive NBA championship. For Chicago, happy days were becoming a way of life.
Certainly, destiny shall be back here for the 4th time. Thank you.
Then, with shivering suddenness, Jordan said thank you and good night on October 6th.
Michael Jordan has stunned the sports and popular culture world by announcing that he has decided to retire from basketball.
For a guy in his prime who seemed happy, there was no reason to think that he was going to quit.
It's time to be a little bit unselfish in terms of spending more time with my family, with my wife, my kids, and just get back to a normal life.
I want to retire to spend more time with my family. Next I saw Michael, he was in spring training with the White Sox.
Less than 2 months after retiring to what he called a normal life, Jordan was swinging away at Comiskey Park. On February 7th, 1994, the White Sox signed him to a minor league contract.
There was a handful of guys that probably resented the fact that he had gotten where he was because of who he was.
Everybody around baseball, players, managers, scoffed at the idea.
An average hitter and pitcher in high school, the 31-year-old rookie was clearly out of his depth in spring training.
You're 0 for 14. Stop. Give it up. I mean, if you have D's, are you applying to Harvard?
He took up a spot in a joyride in a hobby that somebody who had a legitimate chance of playing in the big leagues might have taken.
That somebody was 22-year-old Charles Poe. While Jordan drew more headlines than walks, Poe, who was expected to be promoted to the AA Birmingham Barons, was sent back to Single-A.
Mike, was very awesome to be on the same field as you, but no way possible were you a better baseball player than me. And I don't know why you decided to come play baseball and mess up my year in '94.
To Poe's point, Jordan finished the season with the Barons with a .202 average and a strikeout every 3.5 at-bats. Beyond the numbers, it just gets worse.
You see the guy swinging at balls that are in his eyes, swinging at balls. It was almost as if pitchers were toying with him.
Jordan back up the middle to the pitcher, double play in order. There's one, over to first for 2.
He got picked off a lot of times. He didn't know how to slide. He went into home plate, I remember one time, with just both feet laying out. It was a head-first slide in reverse.
You want him to just take off the cleats, throw away the batting gloves, and just please come back home and do what you were meant to do. Lead us to another title.
But no cleats came off as Jordan headed for the Arizona Fall League, where he managed just 5 extra base hits and 8 RBIs in 123 at-bats. While Jordan whiffed on the diamond, The Bulls waned for the better part of 2 seasons.
If Michael Jordan is not swinging at curveballs, the Bulls win 8 straight NBA titles, and you can talk about it even more as maybe the greatest dynasty of all time.
I'm not for Michael playing baseball. I wasn't for him playing. I could have had 2 more championships if he didn't play.
He disrupted the greatest career that we'll ever see in our lifetime in professional sports to go play baseball.
You've just seen why Jordan is blamed for his decision to try and play baseball. Before we give you the top 5 reasons why you can't blame his airness, here are some reasons that missed the cut. We call them the best of the rest. Bill Veeck. The White Sox, who were controlled by Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf in 1994, had a tradition for publicity stunts. It began decades earlier when the team was owned by the game's most inventive promoter.
Bill Veeck was the greatest showman of all, and he found ways to put people in the stands.
He had Disco Demolition Night, where a local DJ blew up records.
He had Louis Aparicio and Nellie Fox playing short and second. He had a helicopter land in the middle of the field, and they were captured by Martians.
This is what the White Sox were known for, so nobody was surprised at all that Michael Jordan all of a sudden ended up wearing a White Sox uniform.
Our other best of the rest, Bo Jackson.
Jackson, what a catch in left field.
In the early 1990s, while Jordan was winning scoring titles, Jackson was being celebrated as the best 2-sport athlete of the era.
And nobody catches Bo.
Perhaps the image Jordan saw in the mirror was not his own.
When you're comparing yourself to other athletes, when you're called the greatest, they have to look at the other athletes to play the other sport.
Bo knows football.
Bo knows baseball.
Bo knows basketball, too.
That could have crossed Michael's mind. You know, hey, wait a second. He could play 2 sports. Why can't I?
Bo Jackson, when he was playing baseball for the White Sox, shattered his hip and was still out there being Bo Jackson.
Oh, Bo. Way back to deep center. It is way out of here.
The fact that Bo was doing it in Chicago from a baseball standpoint, I you know, egged on a little bit of Michael's idea that, you know what, you know, I could probably do this too.
He was trying to match up the names of every player to their pictures because he wanted to be able to walk into the clubhouse and say to them, hey, by their first name.
He kind of yelled from across the clubhouse, "Hey, D-Sar, how you doing?" And I was just like, I got taken aback, like that he actually knew who I was.
Without any further ado, let's begin our countdown with reason number 5. Magic and Bird. Their retirements, Magic Johnson's in 1991 after he tested HIV positive, and Larry Bird's in 1992 due to a chronic back ailment, moved Jordan to the center of the basketball universe.
Those 2 guys are gone, and you look around, and it's like, okay, Michael, it's up to you. It's all on you, man.
With Magic and Bird gone, the spotlight on Jordan widened beyond the court.
Michael Jordan is getting scalped for a trip to an Atlantic City casino last Monday night on the eve of the second game of the Bulls-Knicks Eastern Conference Playoff Championship.
He became really worn down, annoyed, angry with the media.
I was not out until 2:30, 1:30, or 2 o'clock. I was in my bed. I got 8 hours of sleep. I have to do what I have to do to get my mind away from the game.
In June of 1993, NBA Commissioner David Stern launched a probe into Jordan's gambling habits. Although the 4-month investigation turned up no evidence that the Bulls star violated league rules, the additional media attention increased the pressure on Jordan.
Nothing less than another NBA championship, most valuable player in the league, MVP in the finals, would be considered successful.
I was tired of being in that light, in that expectation. I needed a change.
It's like, wait a minute, if I go to play baseball, no one's expecting me to forget about it. Great. No one's expecting me to be good.
He had a chance for 1 year to be almost normal, and he rarely had that chance when he was in the NBA.
Did reason number 5 suit you? If not, try this on for size. Reason number 4, he's an addict. Jordan's burning desire to compete led him down the road to baseball.
You can't blame Michael Jordan for needing baseball because Michael Jordan needs to have his hands in something.
His will to win and his competitive nature is higher than anybody else's. I can remember beating him in a game of pool 3 games in a row, and he didn't speak to me for 24 hours.
It was my mother and Michael and myself playing just a simple game of Go Fish or something, and I caught him cheating my mother.
Michael Jordan was 30 years old when he retired. To think that he was going to retire and, I don't know, go home and take out the trash? Of course, that's ridiculous.
I knew he was going to retire this year or next year because he wants to play golf.
He was so addicted to golf. If it wasn't baseball, it was going to be golf. If it wasn't golf, it may have been wrestling.
Jordan did wrestle with his bat. He clearly wanted to excel.
From hitting, his hands would get blisters on them, and then they would start bleeding a little bit. And he could have just said, I don't think I can continue to hit anymore today. He never said that.
I'm strong enough to accept failure, but I will not accept not trying.
I played professional baseball for 19 years, and I do not recall ever spending as much time in spring training at the ballpark that he did every day.
In for a ton. Jordan goes over, makes the diving stab.
I think people realize that I do have capabilities of possibly playing this game.
With effort came improvement, as Jordan was one of 6 players in AA to drive in 50 runs and steal 30 bases. Even in baseball, there were kids who wanted to be like Mike.
You can't blame a guy who has been idolized by millions and who thrives on action, who thrives on cheering, to seek that out.
Earlier in the show, we mentioned Charles Poe, the outfielder sent back to Class A to make room for Jordan. What became of Poe? In 2002, he hung up his glove with a .267 average after 13 seasons in the minors.
Michael wasn't knocking a young prospect out of time playing. See, Poe played every day, and if you're a good enough player to play in the major leagues, you'll find a way to get yourself to the major leagues.
At first, I was bitter, but it's okay. I'm over it now. Now I'm coaching with the Toronto Blue Jays, hitting coach in A-ball, and I'm still in the game.
Jimmy Hoffa. As president of the Teamsters Union in the 50s and 60s, his powerful leadership of more than 2 million members helped change the working life of a nation.
And I say to the millions of members of organized labor, those who fight for you, fight to win.
Jimmy Hoffa's America was a strong labor union America. If you grew up in that America, you did not cross the union.
There was a spillover, from what the Teamsters' success was into professional sports.
Hoffa's success resonated years later in the labor movement in Major League Baseball, but it would eventually destroy Jordan's dream.
Day 1 and counting of the baseball strike of '94.
When the players' strike, which began in August, continued through spring training of 1995, Jordan became increasingly concerned.
I'm a minor leaguer. I'm strictly as a minor leaguer, and if the strike is still on, I'm going to the minor league somewhere. I'm certainly not going nowhere near a major league field.
He could have very easily broken the strike, and then all hell would have broken loose there, because Michael Jordan's going to play in the big leagues. People were going to watch him no matter what.
You're bringing in players to maybe fill the spots of major league players, and Michael was starting to get dragged into that. And I know he was very uncomfortable.
If it's going to be something that's going to deteriorate what the players are trying to achieve or brings me in the middle, then I'd rather step aside.
It's about union principles. And Michael Jordan, picked up the principles of Jimmy Hoffa and said, I'm going to stand with them.
Jordan today walked out of the White Sox camp.
After leaving training camp on March 2nd, 1995, Jordan stayed loyal to the union cause in the highest Hoffa tradition. But it would be with another union, the NBA Players Association. For Jordan, baseball was history.
The saddest part of this whole thing is that we didn't get to see him another year. That we didn't get to see if he could have really done it.
He could run. His arm strength was getting better. He was starting to make adjustments as a hitter.
Home run, Michael Jordan.
He had the ability and the work ethic, and I think he's a guy that definitely would have been able to play in the big leagues.
It's sort of a shame that we never really did see him carry it through to as far as he wanted to because of the strike and because his loyalty to the union wouldn't have allowed him to cross the picket line.
Have we begun to change your mind yet? If not, take a look at reason number 2. Field of Dreams. By playing baseball, Jordan was fulfilling a promise he made to his father.
His dad was a huge baseball fan. He didn't idolize Oscar Robertson, he idolized Roberto Clemente. He wasn't necessarily shooting baskets with Michael outside, he was playing catch with Michael.
His father had always talked about what a good baseball player he was. They must have had some conversations throughout his young adulthood about, gee, Michael, you should have played baseball.
In the summer of 1993, Jordan's world stopped spinning.
Here he is at the very top of his life, and then all of a sudden he gets word privately that his father had set off in his car somewhere and had never arrived.
Time stretched on, and Michael's mom was calling and saying, I'm worried, I'm concerned. You know, I don't know where he is. He was going to a friend's funeral, and that was really the last they heard.
A red Lexus Model 400 vehicle was found in a wooded area. This vehicle belonged to Mr. James Jordan, father of Michael Jordan.
What scared Michael was when they found the Lexus. He knew then that something was very, very wrong.
A body found 10 days ago in Bennettsville, South Carolina, was positively identified today as James Jordan.
The public being shocked that Jordan's not going to play basketball is nowhere close to the shock he felt when he found out one morning that, yeah, the reason your dad can't be found is that he's been murdered. What our reaction was to what he decided to do by playing baseball is really meaningless. It wasn't about us. It was about him.
My father presented a challenge to me before he died was to try to play baseball.
His father even recommended to him after we won the first championship that he go play baseball at that time.
I took it upon myself to at least put forth the effort. I've always had those dreams of playing baseball. I started in baseball, and I just wanted to try it.
Michael Jordan would have never tried to play baseball had his father not been murdered. I know for a fact it was cause and effect. He said, we'd be driving to the spring training complex, and I'll turn to the seat next to me, and I'll see my dad. And he says, and I'll look over there, and I'll think, Pops, we're doing this.
No matter what people say or what people criticize me for, I feel this is the best way that I can repay what my father's done for me for a long time, and that was to play this game. And it isn't just my father's dream, it was my dream too. And I'm gonna continue to do that. And I may fail, but you know, I'm gonna try.
When he hit his first home run, I've never seen such an emotional home run in my life. When he pointed up to the heavens, as if acknowledging that was for you, Dad, that still to this day gives you just chill bumps. Because you know it's something personal for Jordan, something self-fulfilling for him.
He came back and was better than ever. It took the hiatus of playing baseball to rekindle Jordan's passion on the hardwood.
Anybody who enjoyed the last 3 Bulls championship years shouldn't be too upset that Jordan took that time to play baseball, because it was the baseball experience that brought him back.
But even while he played baseball, Jordan stayed connected to the game he once owned.
We'd go out and play pickup games every once in a while, and you could tell he still wanted that competitive edge to play basketball.
You know, I was asking them for hitting advice. They were asking me to come out and join them and play in a pickup basketball game. I never took the game as something to run away from. I always ran to it, and they helped me run back to the game.
In September of 1994, Jordan scored 52 points in a charity game at Chicago Stadium's last event before being raised.
The guy comes out there, he puts on a show, and I think we all had an inkling that he might come back at the end of that game when he kissed center court.
The game of basketball is always going to be a part of me. I never said I was going to stop playing the game.
2 weeks after he quit baseball, Jordan was back with the Bulls. After losing in the 1995 Eastern Conference semifinals, Jordan returned to form the following season when the Bulls went a record 72-10 on their way to the first of 3 more NBA titles.
The
Heroes of the world champs again!
For me, baseball was not failing because it gave me, it rejuvenated me to think and come back to the game of basketball with a new energy, with a new understanding for what that game was all about and what it meant to me.
When he went back to the NBA, because I saw how you guys did it, saw how much you love what you're doing, I really enjoy basketball more now.
Those minor leaguers were the best thing that happened to me because of what they did every single day, not knowing if they were going to make it to the big league. It was their true love for the game, and I lost that, and I found it again playing minor league baseball.
Well, there you have it, the top 5 reasons you can't blame Michael Jordan for trying to play baseball. We hope we've given you a new way of looking at the sports legacy of number 23 and number 45. I'm Brian Kenny. Thanks for watching.